As we continue, we are in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, with the 45th and possibly 47th President of the United States. Donald Trump is with us. You know, we had this whole issue of cocaine in the White House.
Yeah.
Okay. I could only imagine what the reaction would have been in the media and with others about this. And here's what bothers me about it. They had a 10-day investigation. They have cameras on every single person that walked into that area.
That's right.
They didn't interview a single person. And after 10 days, they declared the investigation is over. We don't know who did it. Now, what's your reaction to that?
So I know the area very well. It's very private, actually, in a true sense, and they probably have more cameras.
First, there was 3 different locations, to be fair.
Well, they don't even know what location, and they also said the Bidens weren't there, and they were there. It turned out to be, false. A lot of false reporting, a lot of misinformation. They dis and misinformation, right? Nobody's ever explained the difference, but let's assume they're pretty close. You have more cameras in that area than any place probably in the world. You have the Situation Room. The Situation Room, I never even thought of it in terms of this, but probably the most important room anywhere in the world. There's no more important. Wars are decided, nuclear is decided, weapons are decided. It's been there. There's nothing more important. They have cameras.
That's where you decided to take out Soleimani. That's where you decided to take out Baghdadi and associates. Right?
Defeat ISIS. Don't forget, we defeated ISIS. I was told it would take 3 to 4 years to defeat ISIS, so we probably couldn't do it. I did it in 4 weeks, less than 4 weeks, right? And took out the worst. But the Situation Room is very heavily guarded. They know they know everything. The other thing, I have a great respect for Secret Service. I deal with them all the time. They are really incredible people. And Secret Service knows what's happening. They know what's happening. So I think it's very disappointing that after just a few days that was over. That's a big deal. Cocaine. Now, the cocaine, as they say, could have been worse. They could have gone to the bioweapons. They could have gone to a lot of other
Anthrax.
things. But cocaine's pretty bad if somebody's taking cocaine and making decisions.
What if there was fentanyl in it? What if it was anthrax?
Well, it could have been a lot of things.
God forbid.
It could have been a lot of things. And they have cameras, and I would imagine it doesn't stop here. But Secret Service is so incredible. They don't get enough credit. And they're under the orders of other people. But I think Secret Service would be able to tell you the real answer. But you can't have a thing like that. The most embarrassing thing for our country, we were respected. 3 years ago, this country was respected. And Putin knew he couldn't do it, and President Xi of China knew he couldn't do it. You know, I gave Iowa and farmers, the farm states, $28 billion from China, $28 billion. That's why I said, I go around, I don't want to be too boisterous on this because you never know, right? But I said, there's no way I can lose Iowa, Nebraska, any of these states. There's no way, because I gave the farmers $28 billion from China. No person, no president's ever gotten 10 cents from China. I got hundreds of billions of dollars, and I went to the Secretary of Agriculture. How much has... They obviously got a check. But thank you. I love you, too, I will tell you that. But think of President Xi, central casting, brilliant guy. When I say he's brilliant, everyone says, oh, that's terrible. You call him. Well, he runs 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. Smart, brilliant, everything perfect. There's nobody in Hollywood like this guy. I got them to pay us $28 billion because they screwed our farmers for years. And I had the Secretary of Agriculture come up, and I said, give me a number. They said, it's $28 billion. Comes back a week later, it's $28 billion. I said, that's a lot. I said, well, we're going to take it from China. I got $28 billion for the farmers. Who got a check? Did everybody get a check? And I also made the USMCA. We had the worst trade deal that we ever made, NAFTA. You got killed on NAFTA. And I made it the best trade deal, the USMCA. That's Mexico and Canada. I got billions and billions of dollars from Japan and other countries that were taking advantage. You couldn't sell into Japan.
Did that money help pay for the wall?
Let me tell you what paid for the wall. What really helped? Mexico was great. They all say Mexico. Mexico paid much more than what I was asking for because I had 28,000 soldiers on the border when I was building the wall. And we built almost 500 miles of wall. And you know, our opponents, you know what they say? If there's a little rotted out 2x4 laying on the ground that's been there for 50 or 60 years, and they would say when we build a 30 and 40-foot wall, oh, that's just a renovation, that's not included. We built almost 500 miles of wall. We renovated a lot. Then I said, let's build another 200 miles because there were some areas that were weak. And it was all there, ready to be installed, and they didn't do it. But Mexico, I said to the president, you have to do me a favor. You have to do us a favor. We need 28,000 soldiers on the border, Mexican soldiers. He laughed at me. And you know, I have a very good relationship with him. But he said, but why would we do that? Because they're coming in through Mexico. You have to stop them from coming in from Mexico. They're coming in caravans. He said, we can't do that. Then he had a representative come to see the State Department person. And the State Department person said, you know, I've been doing this for years. We've always asked for a lot of different things, like remain in Mexico. I got remain in Mexico passed. Nobody thought it was possible. All of the different catch and release. How about this? You catch a criminal and you release him into the United States, okay? I got catch and release. But I got this, and they said to me, we won't do it, we won't do it. They smiled, they laughed. They said, are you crazy? We wouldn't do this. I said, yes, you'll do it. Because if you don't do it, we're going to put a 25% tax on all of your cars coming in from Mexico, and you're going to do it. We're going to take in billions of dollars, and we'll do it ourselves. So Mexico gave us billions of dollars of free soldiers, free of charge. You know, they came back into the room after saying, actually sort of laughing at me, how stupid a question this was. They said, you think we're not going to do that? I said, yes, you will. You'll do that. He said, we're not going to do that. And I said, well, we're putting a tariff on all of your products, including all the cars that you stole, because, you know, they have 32% of our car business left from Mexico. I said, we're going to put a tariff, 25%. It's going to go higher, but 25%. Take in billions. He said, may I leave the room, please? Yes. He comes back 5 minutes later. We would be honored to give you 28,000 soldiers. So Mexico paid plenty.
Let me go back to the China issue. Think of all the incidents we had. The Chinese spy balloon that, you know, went from the skies of Alaska down to Idaho, across to Montana, over missile sites, Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky, out the coast, the East Coast. And I look at the communist Chinese now confronting our Navy ships in international waters, confronting our fighter jets in international airspace, on top of intellectual property theft, on top of COVID-19, on top of unfair trade practices, devaluation of the dollar, I believe attempts to eliminate the U.S. dollar as the world's currency.
That's right. They want to do that. They're working hard on it. That would be a disaster.
And now they've aligned with Russia and Iran. And now they're negotiating deals.
North Korea.
And North Korea. Now they're negotiating deals between the Saudis and the Iranians and the Saudis and the Syrians. Now, I think China is taking advantage of a president that has abdicated his role as the most dominant, America being the most dominant force in the world. Would they have ever done that under you, and how would you have prevented it?
Number one, they wouldn't have done it. Number two, if they did it, I would have said, excuse me, we're going to put a 100% tariff on all of your goods that are coming into the United States. And they would have backed up immediately. You know, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. And as I said, not one president for many presidents ever took in anything. You know, they revered China. I don't know. I also explained, hey, we all love China. Let's love China. Let's respect the president. Let's respect everybody. But they took advantage of the United States, making hundreds of billions of dollars a year. We built their military because they made so much money. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China.
Do you think Taiwan is going to get invaded?
Well, I think they have no respect for Biden. They have no respect whatsoever for him. It would have never happened. I met with Putin, and I said, listen, if you do this, really, really bad things are going to happen to Russia. And I don't want to say because I'm not going to get into that. But I said, really bad things. He said, no, 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 you would never do that. I said, yes, I would. And he said, no, I don't like that. But, you know, maybe he didn't believe it, but he believed it 5% or 10%, and that's all he needed. I said bad things. Said the same thing to President Xi. I had a great relationship with, frankly, both of them. And, you know, having a good relationship with these guys, they're smart, tough, and they have a lot of nuclear weapons. Having a good relationship, I tried to explain this to the fake news, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. There has nobody's been rough on Russia like I have. I'm the one that ended Nord Stream 2. Nord Stream 2 is the big pipeline going into Germany and all over Europe. I ended it. That's the worst thing that any president or anybody has ever done to Russia. I ended their pipeline, and the money that, and Putin said to me, how could you do that? I ended it, and Biden came in and he approved it. I put sanctions in. I gave the Javelins, which are anti-tank busters, I gave the Javelins to Ukraine. When they took out all those tanks, that was from Trump. You know what? Obama, you know, when they say, oh, Trump was good to Russia, I was the worst thing that ever happened. But I still got along with Putin, and he respected me. And I got along with Xi, and he respected our country. They no longer respect our country.
Okay. You have said very boldly you could end this Ukrainian-Russia war in 24 hours.
Yeah.
How?
So I know Zelensky very well because he was very honorable with the fake phone call, impeachment hoax #1. They said I made a phone call to him, and I was very threatening. I wasn't at all. I was actually very nice. I was congratulating him on a victory. But when they asked him, they said, were you threatened? He didn't even know what they were talking about. He was very honorable. He could have done grandstand and said, yeah, I felt threatened. I felt threatened. He didn't do that. And as you know, I get along very well with Putin. I would tell Putin, got to settle. I would tell Zelensky, you got to settle. I would tell one, you're going to load up with money. I'd tell the other, you're not going to get any money. I would get a settlement in 24 hours. Now, it should have never happened. You have thousands, hundreds of thousands of dead people right now, hundreds of thousands. You have cities that are obliterated. I don't know if you've ever seen the cities after they finish with the rockets. You have cities with no building standing. It looks like just a demolition zone. It's so horrible.
Sad.
And, you know, and then they'll say 2 people were hurt. No, hundreds of people and thousands of people were killed. You're going to find out when this whole thing is over that the number of people killed is far greater than they tell you. They're not telling you the truth. Many, many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are dying. These cities are being obliterated. And basically they say, what's your stance? Are you for Russia or are you for... I'm for one thing very simple. I want to stop people from getting killed, and I'll have it stop fast.
Take a break. We'll come back. Up next, we'll talk about the 2024 primary. And one big question is the Biden family, with their business dealings with China and Russia and Romania and Ukraine and Kazakhstan and Mexico and a dozen other countries, are they compromised? More with Donald Trump on the other side, straight ahead. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.